Hello, kids.
Hello, kids.
And we're reading.
We're back again.
We're reading.
What are we reading, Amber? Oh my gosh. What are we reading? Did you say hello, kids?
Hello, kids.
Hello, kids. We're back again.
Back again.
We're back again. Tell them what we're reading.
This one is Mr. Funny.
No, Mr. Silly.
Mr.
Silly.
Silly.
Yeah. You
Silly Billy.
You silly Billy. Are you silly?
Are you drinking your milk? Are you leaving milk and cookies for Santa?
Of course they have. That was ages ago. Of course they did.
Have you got your Christmas tree up?
Christmas tree? No, it's not Christmas. Oh, don't want to see my foot in this, do we? How am I going to do this? There we go. What are we going to do? Hang on, that's better. What are we doing?
Well, we're going to have another Christmas.
Yeah, of course we are. We're going to have lots of Christmases, aren't we? Yeah, you like Christmas, did you like Christmas? You did. All the twinkly lights, didn't you?
Yeah.
So, we're back again. Mr. Silly gets the giggles. Do you like laughing? Do you like laughing, kids? You do?
And what is your name?
Well, they've got loads of different names. There's a lot of funny things out there. You just need to look, don't you? And you see them.
Is this Emily?
No. There will be an Emily watching. There will be a Sarah watching.
Yes,
There'll be probably Amber watching. Jessica.
Oh, look at you. You're smart.
Phoebe. Julie's probably is a bit old-fashioned, isn't
Yeah, Julie's at my nursery.
Oh, you got Julie?
Yeah.
You got Julie. Is there a Julie there watching us now? There is. Wow.
You look very smart with Emily and Mummy.
Thank you, darling. Shall we get back to the story?
Yes.
Come on then, come and sit down. Are you ready for bed too, like Amber? She's ready for bed, aren't you, darling?
Yeah, and I got spots over my jumper.
She's got spots over a jumper.
And fox and an animal.
You've got a little fox there. That's a moose. Can you say moose?
Can you say moose?
Moose.
Can you say moose like this? Moose.
Moose. Moose. Mooses have things on their head called what?
Antlers.
Antlers, that's right. That's right. Okay, let's get to the story, guys. We promised you a Mr. Man book, and we are reading... Thank you, Amber. Mr. Silly. Mr. Silly.
We're reading.
Right, come on then.
He's reading that one.
Done that one. Let's go. Mr. Silly lives in a place called Nonsense Land, where the grass is blue and the trees are red. We don't have blue grass here, do we?
We have green.
We have green grass, darling, you're right. Which you already know. It is also a place where zebra crossings are spotty, which you probably did not know. Spotty zebra crossing.
Shall I give you your face?
Shall you give me your face? Okay. Spotty zebra crossings? Oh dear. I think we have stripes here, don't we, kids? Now, in Nonsense Land, you post letters in telephone boxes and you make phone calls from letter boxes. I think there's something wrong there, Amber, isn't there?
Yeah.
And in Nonsense Land, the umbrellas all have holes in them. so that you know when it has stopped raining. Which is utter nonsense, but not if your name is Mr.
Can you see it, kids?
Mr. Silly. Not giggles, silly, that's right. Stop moving about, look, you're making the kids sick. You're making them sick. Keep still. Right. We don't have holes in umbrellas. Now, one morning last week, Mr. Silly got up. He put on his hat. He brushed his teeth with soap.
No.
Oh. He polished his shoes with toothpaste, as usual, and he went down for breakfast. Don't polish our shoes with toothpaste, do we, guys?
Can I see a soap? Where's it?
There's a toothpaste. Where do we normally put our toothpaste, guys? Do you know? That's right. We put our toothpaste on our toothbrushes and we clean our teeth.
These are my white teeth.
These are my white teeth. You've got lovely white teeth. You've got nice teeth. Look at this. Show us your teeth.
And my name is Amber, and this is Simon, and Vicky's downstairs.
Yeah. Show us your teeth. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Show us your teeth. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Show us your teeth. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. For breakfast, Mr. Silly had fried eggs and custard, as usual, and a cup of hot, milky marmalade, as usual. Well, I would like to eat his breakfast, would you? After breakfast, he went out into his garden. The day before, Mr. Silly had bought a tree. But as he looked at the tree, he realised that he did not have a hole to plant it in. So he went to the hardware shop. "Good morning," said Mr. Silly. "I would like to buy a hole." "Sorry," said the sales assistant. "We're all out of holes. Sold the last one yesterday." "Oh, bother," said Mr. Silly. He decided there was nothing for it but to go in search of a hole.
Look.
They're staples, darling. He walked and he walked and he walked. Eventually, Mr. Silly stopped walking and he looked down at his feet. "Well, that's odd," he said. "The grass is green." "Well, of course it is," said a voice from behind him. "Grass is always green." Who's that? Who is that talking to him? I don't know. Do you? "Who are you?" asked Mr. Silly. "I am little Miss Wise." "Why, I'm Mr. Silly. Could you tell me where I am?" "You're in Sensible Land," said Miss Wise. Mr. Silly had walked so far that he'd walked right out of Nonsense Land. He's walked far. "I'm looking for a hardware shop," said Mr. Silly. "Can you help?" "Oh, certainly," said Miss Wise. Come, follow me." As they walked along, Mr. Silly looked around him. He had never seen anywhere like it. The grass was green, the trees were green, even the hedges were green. They came to a zebra crossing.
Those are blue.
Well, they're kind of a greeny, bluey colour, aren't they? Like a teal. A teal. What a lovely colour. Teal. I'll show you in a minute. They came to a zebra crossing, a stripy zebra crossing. Mr. Silly chuckled, and then he giggled, and then he laughed out loud. "What are you laughing at?" said Miss Wise. "Zebra crossing, it's stripy," laughed Mr. Silly. "Well, what else would a zebra crossing be?" said Miss Wise. Well, Spotty, of course. Spotty, Spotty, Spoo-Poos. Wiping the tears from his face. Oh, how silly, said Miss Wise. They set off again, and the further they went, the more Mr. Silly laughed. He laughed when he saw someone posting a letter in the letterbox. She didn't look very happy with him, did she? He laughed when...
Sorry, kids.
Bless you, sorry kids. He laughed when he saw someone using a phone in the telephone box. And he laughed when he saw an umbrella without holes. Eventually, they came to Miss Bolt's hardware shop. Good afternoon, said Miss Silly. I would like to buy a hole. A hole? Questioned Miss Bolt. Yes, big enough to plant a tree in, said Mr. Silly. Miss Bolt sniggered. Miss Wise chortled, and then they burst out laughing. I've never heard anything so absurd in my life, laughed Miss Bolt. But I do have something that might help you, you know. What do you think she could do? That evening, Mr. Silly invited his friend, Mr. Nonsense, for supper, and he told him all about his day in Sensible Land. Mr. Nonsense laughed so hard he fell off his chair. And then, continued Mr. Silly, Miss Bolt gave me a spade. A spade? Why in the world would I want to buy a spade when all I wanted was a hole? That's ridiculous, laughed Mr. Nonsense. What's for pudding?
Pie.
Mince pies? Spam roly-poly, answered Mr. Silly. Oh, goody, said Mr. Nonsense. My favourite. That is the story of Mr. Silly. What a silly book.
Kids.
Have
listen.
you been silly?
But he had stripy.
A stripy crossing, darling. We don't have stripy crossings, do we?
And these are spotty and crescents.
Yes, they are, darling. Now, did you enjoy that, kids? You did. Well, we're going to...
He, on the telephone, in the box, he saw the big noise.
Yeah, that's right, darling. Darling,
Yeah?
look, hang on. Wait, darling. Shall we say goodbye to the children first?
Bye, kids.
Bye, kids. See you again tomorrow night.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.